Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be reviewing a 2022 Ford Ranger Rocky Ridge Edition. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Ed Kenley Ford here in Layton, Utah for giving me some time with this Ranger. This one is available for sale for the time being, so if you want to check it out, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. The Ed Kenley Ford here in Layton, Utah does not charge over MSRP for any of the Ford products, so they're definitely a dealership to go to, especially in today's crazy market. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2.3-liter four-cylinder that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It is good for 270 horsepower and then 310 pound-feet of torque. And, well, in terms of fuel economy, not exactly sure anymore because of the big, beefy tires that this truck has, but that's the engine. Now let's go over the front end of this Ranger Rocky Ridge Edition. So you guys can see Rocky Ridge there on the windshield, and then notice here with the decals on either side of the hood. And then notice here with the Ranger logo how that is darker, and then also the Ford logo as well. And they've got the regular halogen bulbs for the headlights. And then notice here with the fog lights down below. We've got tow hooks here on the front end. And something that I love about the Ranger's front end is it's kind of sculpted to help out with approach angle, which is obviously important for off-road use. And, well, there's the front. So for the tire and wheel setup, it is 285/70/17 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then I really like the design here on the wheels, how it kind of looks like a beadlock wheel. I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. And then how it's all blacked out. And then of course we have the Rocky Ridge logo there in the center. And notice just how aggressive these tires are. And with those dimensions, these are pretty much 33s, which look massive on the Ranger. Now you guys can see here it has been lifted. I think it's about a 5-inch lift here with the Rocky Ridge package. You guys can see that whole setup right there. And then if we pop underneath, here's kind of like a better look at everything that they've done. They make sure everything is compliant. Speedo has been recalibrated as well, so it's all set up. And then you guys will notice we've got these massive fender flares you guys can see with the little rivets in it. And then notice here, got our Ranger logo, and then we have our Rocky Ridge logo. This is built off of an XLT. And then we'll take a few steps back so you guys can see the side profile here on the Ranger. And then notice here we've got the rock rail side steps. So basically this part, rock rail, that part, side step, and RR for Rocky Ridge. And then we've got another massive bolt-on fender flare. Now for this generation of Ranger, we still have leaf springs, and then you guys can see here the shock setup there in the rear. And we also have a custom exhaust that comes with this package as well. And notice it's got the FX4 package. So here's our key fob. We have our unlock function or lock function, and then remote start as well. And then look at this, we get a cool little like Rocky Ridge tag that comes with this. Anyways, lowering down the tailgate, just hold it. If you don't hold it, it'll just slam down like any truck tailgate. Anyways, notice here we already have bed liner, which is definitely great. Got our Rocky Ridge logo there on the back window. And nothing's really been changed. I'll show you guys the payload sticker in a little bit. And then lifting this up, really easy to get that up into place. So if you guys hear a lot of noise, well, there is airplanes flying overhead, I think. Yes, hopefully you guys can see that on camera. There's a military base right by here. So anyways, continuing on with the rest of the rear, you guys can see here with the taillights for this generation of Ranger, we got our Rocky Ridge logo here. Notice we've got the parking sensors there on the back end as well. And yeah, I think with the lift and everything, it looks great from a back end perspective. So here's the door panel in the rear. You guys can see here with the padding there. And then notice we have these upgraded seats because the XLT, well, does not come with seats this nice. So I got these leather seats added. You can see here with the stitching that goes down the center and then here on these sides as well. And then that side step actually helps out quite a bit because there's no grab handles here with the Ranger. Now in terms of space, it is a mid-sized truck, so there you go. There you go. We have our little storage pocket here on the back of the seat. You can see with a couple of USBs and then the outlet. Then pulling this down, we have our cup holder armrest set up. And then this does have a manual opening window, so it's not power. And let's head to the front. So here's our front door panel. You guys can see with the cloth trim and the padding down below. We've got all of our window controls. Front one is automatic. We do have blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. And then notice here with the unlock and the lock function. Ranger logo down below. And notice Rocky Ridge here in the headrest. And then you can see all the stitching goes down the center portion. Notice that the seat's partially power adjustable and then partially manually adjustable with that interesting little lever. Pedal layout down below. And then our hood latch release, we've got our light control here, and then notice the coloration on the vent. And then you guys can see here with the mirror adjustment on the top portion there, which is kind of interesting. Steering wheel is manually adjustable. Let's pop in. Yep, we got one of these. So here's the steering wheel for the Rocky Ridge Ranger. It's a regular Ranger steering wheel. So you've got like practical stuff, voice command, phone controls, volume controls, stuff for the radio, cruise control, controls for the center stack, and then you have your turn signal stock, and then your windshield wiper stock, you know, all the normal Ranger works. And then here is the gauge cluster, which is also the same as stock, which is pretty interesting because this does have analog gauges, which you think that they would swap that out because that's what they'll do a lot of times with Rocky Ridge packages. But now with this Ranger, and you guys saw that I have exactly 0 miles of range. This truck was literally just dropped off, and so shout out to Ed Kenley Ford for letting me review this truck before they even have a chance to get it cleaned up and put on the front line, but that's why it doesn't have any fuel in it, if you guys are wondering. But this has like the normal Ranger menus there in the center, and we also have the normal drive modes as well. So you guys can see we've got a normal mode, grass, gravel, snow, mud, ruts, and then a sand mode as well. And other than that, that's the center. Now here is the infotainment screen. So first off, if we pop it into reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then we got the zoom function with this as well. Resolution's actually pretty solid. As for the infotainment system, you can see we've got the shortcut bar here at the bottom. Notice response time of the screen, even though it has the plastic covering on it, still is actually really solid, easy to use. Other than that, it's a screen, and there's a little storage thing above it. So down below, we've got analog controls for the radio and the dual zone climate system. And then notice we have like two little 12 volts right there. And then we've got some USB ports down below. And then this does have off-road cruise control. You guys can see right there. We have our auto stop start, and then this has a rear locker, trailer tow mode, and then your stability control. If you guys are wondering, the off-road cruise control basically, or trail control is what Ford calls it, will essentially make the truck drive for you in off-road situations, whether it's a straight trail or whether it's up a trail or down a trail. It's a really cool system. And then we've got our drive line select here. So we have a 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, and 4-wheel low. And then that's your drive mode select, is pressing that button there in the center. Shifter here for the 10-speed automatic transmission, and then that S is for your sport mode, so it's not in the TM selection, it's just on the shifter. You do have a manual shift function there. A couple cup holders, and then center console. Then we have a regular good old parking brake, and then you guys can see here with the glove box setup. And other than that, got a lighter colored headliner, and well, we'll take it out for a test drive of sorts, and then we'll go over pricing and everything, and then we'll sum things up. Okay, so we are going to go on our test drive of sorts, and I understand this is not in normal Ben Hardy POV fashion, but this has 0 miles of range, and technically not supposed to drive it on the road until this goes through PDI. And you guys are probably wondering, Ben, why didn't you just wait for it to go through PDI? Well, I have a crazy schedule this week, like always, and this is the only time I can make it up here to film this truck. So here we go on our test drive of sorts. Now, I actually have driven a Rocky Ridge Ranger before, so I'm going to kind of talk about some of the ways that it drives here, and here's kind of like your sort of point of view. Anyways, the thing that I love about the Ranger platform in general is it's kind of squishy when it comes to on-road and off-road driving. So when you go over bumps and everything, you don't really feel it stock. Now what this Rocky Ridge package does is it kind of like adds that, because it lifts it and everything, and then it also gives it much bigger tires, and so it adds to the squishiness. And so it's just a really comfortable truck, and the lift obviously helps out with ground clearance. The tires help out with ground clearance as well. And so overall, this truck actually has quite a bit of practicality from an off-road perspective. And the thing that I love about this package is it doesn't have huge wheels. It doesn't have 20s or 22s, right? So it has a decent amount of sidewall on the tires, and overall it looks great. I mean, look at this. So like, you guys remember the exterior shot of this. This is an F-150 Tremor over here. And like, that's got crazy amounts of sidewall for a stock truck, and we have like, I'm pretty sure we have more sidewall. I can actually go check. I can go check if you guys really want, but the point that I'm trying to make is this is actually like an off-road setup from Rocky Ridge. It's not it's not a mall crawler setup. So, I mean, the best way to show you guys is, we got to drive around the lot. I got to find, they have, I promise you they have an F-150 Rocky Ridge, because they've got a bunch of these Rocky Ridge products. Sorry, this is the most boring test drive ever, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do. That's a Black Widow. That's an RMT Overland. Aha! Rocky Ridge. I found one. Yeah, it has some decent get up and go. So, you guys can see here, those wheels look fantastic. They are beautiful, but those are 20s with 35s wrapped around them. And so, that's not as practical for off-road use, whereas this, with the 17s, is perfectly practical for off-road use. So it actually makes quite a bit of sense. And this being the Ranger, having the shorter wheelbase feels so much smaller compared to like the F-150 Rocky Ridge, for example. Like that being built off the F-150, it's yeah, it's gigantic. You feel like you're in a massive truck. This, you feel high off the ground. Like again, it's a big truck, but it doesn't drive like a big lifted truck. It drives like just a larger Ranger. We'll call it the Mega Ranger. I know that that's probably trademarked by the Mega Ranger that's on Instagram or whatever. But the point that I'm trying to make here is this is my favorite Rocky Ridge package for a new Ford right now, because this is like really set up for off-roading. And sorry that that was the most boring test drive that you guys have ever experienced on the channel, but I would rather not break the rules of, ooh, let's see how he, look at this. Backup camera. Let's see how easy this is to park it. Like I said, I'd rather not break the rules of driving trucks that haven't been through inspection yet. Boom, there we go. So, yeah, and I guess that, well, we'll sum things up by going over the window sticker. And, well, the microphone's faced the wrong way, so let me switch it. So here's the original window sticker for this Rocky Ridge Ranger, and this is for just the Ranger itself, not for the Rocky Ridge package. I do need to say that. So this is what fuel economy would be if it was stock, but obviously it's got the big tires and lift and everything, so it's not gonna do that. Anyways, the original total MSRP is $42,050. Now, this doesn't have the Rocky Ridge sticker on it quite yet, because again, it hasn't been through inspection, all that kind of stuff. But the Rocky Ridge package gives you a 3 or 36,000 mile warranty on top of all of the upgrades. And so it's probably gonna be somewhere in that like $57,000 range once that thing is on from a sticker perspective. Also, the exhaust. It's not super quiet, but it's not super loud at the same time. It's kind of like in this nice in between. But anyways, that's the Rocky Ridge Ranger. Sorry that that video was, well, mediocre at best, but let me know what you guys think about the truck. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this Rocky Ridge Ford Ranger. And with that being said, again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Ed Kenley Ford here in Layton, Utah for giving me some time with the truck. Check out the info in the description down below. I'll see ya.